Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and members of Italo-Egyptian Association Eridanus and Anubi Magazine NTV. It is my great honor to introduce a distinguished figure in the fields of art, history, and archaeology, a prolific writer and a dedicated scholar who has devoted his life to the exploration of Egypt's rich heritage, Professor Sherif Shaban. Today, Professor Shaban will guide us through an exciting journey focused on the Grand Egyptian Museum, an extraordinary institution that stands as a testament of Egypt's commitment to preserving and showcasing its cultural heritage. As many you may know, the Great Egyptian Museum, located near the Giza pyramids, is poised to become the largest archaeological museum in the world, housing an unparalleled collection of ancient artifacts, including the treasure of Tutankhamun. Welcome, Dr. Sherif Shaban.
Welcome, Chiara. Nice to meet you again.
In his presentation, Professor Shaban will delve into the significance of the Grand Egyptian Museum, not only as a museum, but as a vital center for the cultural and heritage education. And he will share insights its architectural marvels, the innovative conservation techniques behind employed, and the museum's role in fostering a deeper understanding of Egypt's history among visitors from around the globe. Well, Professor Shaban, can you describe the main objectives behind the establishment of the Grand Egyptian Museum?
So let me take you by a little tour to the history of the Grand Egyptian Museum, how and why we make this great museum. The genesis of the Grand Egyptian Museum dates back to 1992, as a presidential decree was issued to allocate nearly about 50 hectares for the facility of Giza. In January 2002, the Egyptian government announced a worldwide competition for the design of a new museum complex to house, display, and preserve some of the world's greatest ancient treasures with which the modern country of Egypt has the privilege of being enhanced. So in 2003, the winner of the architectural design competition was announced in a press conference, international press conference in Cairo, with the Irish firm architects securing the contract to turn the ultra-modern concept into the new Grand Museum in Giza. But the construction of the new museum began nearly in 2005. The total estimated project costed about $50 million US, $300 million to be financed by the Japanese loans through Japan International Cooperation Agency, the JICA, and the remaining to be financed by the Supreme Council of Antiquities, other donations, and international funds. As the outbreak of the Arab Spring reached Egypt in early 2011, the work on the project suddenly stopped, as the country experienced several years of unfortunate political instability. But the following re-stabilization of the government in 2014 and the preservation of the stability ever since, the project soon got back on track and construction resumed with the help of international laws to cover the financial shortfalls caused by the lasting efforts of the tourism downtown. We have some incredible artifacts that moved into the museum. As we can see, the Ramesses II great statue that had been moved from its place near the museum through a very incredible show. This great statue of about 82 tons, 3,200 years old, to be moved, accompanied by 11 horsemen in a military dress and sounds of the Egyptian national anthem. It was an incredible march. All over Egypt saw this piece of art. It was in January 2008. April 2008, some other artifacts were moved, like the last chariot of Tutankhamun, and also the solar boat of King Khufu was moved in 2021 and was relocated to the Grand Egyptian Museum from Giza Solar Boat Museum beside the Great Pyramids. In 2020, the opening of the museum has also been announced to be on 2021, but due to the COVID pandemic, it was delayed again into the late of 2022. But nowadays, we have a decision to open the museum as 99% of all constructions, all the showcases, all the facilities of the museum are already completed and ready for the opening, for the ceremonial opening. And we did already a soft opening, or how you can say it, an unofficially opening. It was for anybody, for the whole world to visit the museum. It was in October 16th. About 12 of its halls or galleries are opened as trial run in advance of a still unannounced full opening.
Thank you very much. And how does the Grand Egyptian Museum aim to enhance the understanding of the ancient Egyptian culture and history?
So the Grand Egyptian Museum, or the GEM, is planned to be the greatest or the largest museum in the whole world. It's planned to host 100,000 pieces of the masterpieces of the ancient Egyptian artifacts. It's divided into nearly 5 great halls, beginning of the Great Hall that hosts the huge statue of Ramses II and the great staircases, then the pre-dynastic hall up to 3100 BC, then the Old Kingdom, the Pyramid Builders, and the Middle Kingdom, the New Kingdom with the artifacts of Tutankhamun, Ramses, and others, and then the Greco-Roman era. The displays across about the 12 halls or galleries tap into issues related to society, religion, and doctrine in ancient Egypt. The open-style halls have been classified by dynasty, historical order, and will showcase thousands of incredible artifacts.
Thank you. And what innovative technologies are being utilized in the museum exhibits to engage visitors?
The GEM is using the most incredible and the most high technology techniques to embrace the visitors of the museum all over the world. We have the AI show of Tutankhamun, and it was very impressive that we made a showroom for a Tutankhamun using AI. telling his story, his life story, telling the future of the museum, how the visitors can meet face to face with the new Tutankhamun by the AI. They can talk to Tutankhamun, they can listen to his story life, they can show how the life of Tutankhamun was and will be. That's not everything. The museum used the new night lights goes live at the facade of the museum. That's a great surprise that the visitors of the museums can see it by night, even if the museum is closed by 5 or 6 o'clock. At evening, people nearby the museum can see the new lighting system, and it's very impressive to show the way that the beauty of the facade of the museum to be.
Thank you. And could you discuss the significance of the museum design in relation to its archaeological context?
So the ground plan of the museum to be nearly to the pyramids of Giza. We have now two artifacts, two masterpieces. One from the ancient Egypt, and the other is modern. To be presenting as the Egypt is presenting to the world its connection between past and future. The ground plan of the gem is showing the rays or sun rays beginning from the Giza plateau, moving to the whole world as it's embracing the three pyramids of Giza. That's a very fascinating plan that shows a huge connection between the pyramids and the gem.
And how does the Grand Egyptian Museum plan to facilitate research and education in the field of archaeology?
We are not planning the gem to be just a museum. We are planning that the gem will be a great academy, will be an international academy, hosting a very huge library with ultra-modern technologies, with AI, with computers in very high technology, with connection with all the scientific institutes and museums all over the world. That scientists, archaeologists, students, even the curators of the museum can connect with all their colleagues all over the world to increase their knowledge and to have more experts and more knowledge about the museology, Egyptology, and to make the gem opening its doors to all over the world in the academic field.
Thank you. And what measures are be taken to ensure the preservation and protection of the artifacts within the museum?
So the gem has a very big institute or a center for restoration and preservation. I guess it will be the greatest conservation center all over Egypt or the Middle East. We have very clever restorers, Egyptian restorers are working in this center for years, for more than 10 years. They are connecting with restoration centers all over the world. They are succeeding to preserve and restore every piece of the artifacts inside the museum, like Tutankhamun artifacts, like the great colossi of the kings inside the museum, that impressive or show how these conservators or restorers are incredible or clever, very clever to show their way to conserve our artifacts.
Can you tell us about any collaborative projects the museum has with the international archaeological museum institutions?
I guess the museum is opening its doors to all over museums in the whole world, that we can make cooperation with international museums in many fields. Even in the museology, in Egyptology, in the cultural development, in the cultural heritage, and many fields that the gem is presenting itself to be an international museum. And it has a good connection with all museums and centers all over the world.
Thank you very much. And how does the museum aim to attract both local and international visitors?
Alongside the gallery of the museum, there will be 8 restaurants, 28 gift shops, and 250-seat 3D cinema and sculpture garden. We have children's center that can teach children, youth, and even adults the incredible art of the Egyptian art. It can show children and youth how to be, how to you can visit the museum, how you can learn about ancient Egyptian culture and heritage. It makes the gem not just only a museum, but a nice place for the whole family, that they can visit, they can have good time, that they can learn more and more about ancient Egypt.
Thank you very much. And can you describe the main objectives behind the establishment of the Grand Egyptian Museum?
So the Grand Egyptian Museum is planned to be one of the greatest museums in the whole world. We are aiming that the museum will host hundreds and thousands of the artifacts of the great ancient Egyptian artifacts, and to show the glory of the ancient Egyptian civilization in a very high technical way, to use technology, high technology used all over the world. It's already inside the museum to show how great is the ancient Egyptian civilization.
Thank you. And what do you envision as the future impact of the Grand Egyptian Museum on Egypt's tourism and cultural heritage?
So the museum is opening its doors to all over the world. The project is now heading towards completion, and it's already complete. The Grand Egyptian Museum is a project national pride for the country. The Egyptologists and the general tourists alike from all over the world are expected to be drawn in the museum. Furthermore, it will serve as a peerless archaeological site, a hub of all Egyptian things, and have a connection between modern and ancient worlds. We are seeking more than 3 million visitors to the museum in the year, who are seeking that visitors all over the world can know more about the ancient Egyptian civilization by technology, by high technology used in this museum, the greatest museum and the largest museum in the whole world.
Thank you, Professor. And when you think arrives in Italy?
Give me an invitation, and tomorrow I'll be in Italy.
Okay. And as we gather here to celebrate the rich tapestry of Italian-Egyptian relations, we are privileged to have Professor Sherif Shaban, share his expertise and perspectives of the Grand Egyptian Museum. His extensive knowledge and genuine passion for his subject will undoubtedly enrich our understanding and appreciation of this monumental project. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this chance, and thank you for all your audience to talk more about the gem and the ancient Egyptian civilization as all.
Thank you very much, and see you soon in Italy.
See you soon. Hope so.